Hello everybody, Althamir here with another video. I hope everybody is enjoying Necrom so far. I know I am. So I wanted to do a video real quick about just how exactly I prefer to level, and maybe it will help people out who don't know or don't really like their method or whatever. And Arcanist is kind of like the perfect timing for all of that. So let's dive right into it. And actually, before I get too much further, I just want to say thank you for clicking on the video. I really do appreciate it. It's really awesome of you. Certainly don't have to. Blah blah blah. Just don't forget to like and subscribe if you did enjoy the video and you want to come back for more. Um, and that's really it. So let's dive on in. So whether you do the tutorial or not, you're gonna land out and you're gonna have to say, okay, so where do I go from here? Like literally where? So I'm Old Mary Dominion, so I went to Vocal Guard and I did well, it's Oregon, but I just started out in Vocal Guard. And I like to do, I wouldn't say like different things, but a lot of people like power leveling, and I really don't do that. I don't power level because I don't know how many times. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with it. Back when there were veteran ranks, I used to spend hours in Fraglorn just grinding and grinding and grinding. But I found it, after I was done grinding, I had to go back and get sky shards for skill points so I could unlock skills and do things and passives. And I'm like, so what's the point of power leveling when I have to go back and do the content that I was skipping? You know? So what I like to do is I go from zone to zone, and I kind of like if I'm Aldemary Dominion, I start off in Oregon, then I go to Grotwood, then I'll go to Green Shade, then I go to Malabal Tor, then Reaper's March, and then if I'm not full level by then, I'll do Rothgar. I'll probably skip Vardenfell just because I really don't like Vardenfell like at all. Um, but then I'll go Somerset, Somerset, you know, or maybe go back and do some of the other zones like stone, like AD, DC zones or EP zones. But right here, I think I covered this in my tutorial video, but I'm gonna cover it here. One of the first things that I do is I go to the guilds. And you just want to get these right off the bat. And also one thing to do is read the bookshelves. See? I got clothing. I got clothing and woodworking right off the bat.
Are you here on Mages? Yes, of course. Always good to speak with another. We provide. Excellent. You are now.
Now, if you have, if you happen to have like experience scrolls, I would definitely slot those and use those. If not, that's fine. All right, so I grabbed that.
We have much to discuss, you and I.
Yes, that's just in line with the third law of arcanodynamics. Excellent.
I'm gonna go upstairs and get those. That's just something you want to do. Also, in order to unlock certain armors, you need 3 of each. So you need 3 heavy to unlock it, 3 medium to unlock it, and then 3 light to unlock it. Once you have it unlocked, though, you can pretty much do whatever you want after that. And for what weapon you want, whatever weapon you're going for, if you're a tank, it would be, one hand and shield, ice staff, blah blah blah. You just gotta kill something, and it unlocks the weapon. But you probably learned that in the tutorial. But just in case, yeah, I got one hand and shield. Nice, dude. I needed that later anyway. Medium armor, sick.
Never, I repeat, never attempt to draw magicka from the environment like this in the field. Disaster will be your only reward.
Over
Alright.
here. We have much to discuss, you and I.
Shut up, Bavarian. Now you go to the Fighters Guild and get this one.
Did you come here for crafting certification?
I did not.
Welcome to our hall. Are you familiar with the Fighters Guild? You should consider joining up. Excellent. Right. Ha. Then let me be the first to officially...
Now you can also pick up the quests for these. I just don't because I've done them so many times. I really don't. Typically don't do them anymore, but you certainly can if you want to. The quest is here is given out by get out of it. Sees all colors. I'm gonna check upstairs. So how I prefer to level. Well, I go to like so if I'm gonna be leveling in this zone, I do every I pick up every sky shard. I try to do the dolmens or the world events. I do the delves and I do the public dungeons, pick up the books, pretty much kill anything on the way. I don't really quest when it comes to quote unquote power leveling, at least my way. And that's how I go through the entire zone. I do all, like I said, sky shards, delves, public dungeons, world bosses if I can. If I can't, whatever. Like, I'll come back to them later. Doesn't really matter. World events, and I do that in every zone. Same thing in every single zone. Especially the public dungeons. The public dungeons is a really good way to earn a lot of XP, quickly. The only issue is not every class has easy access to an AoE spammable. Not everybody has the Templar jabs or or the the Necro's scythe, or in this case the Arcanist's beam. So because of that, you kind of have to change how you play a little bit, maybe come back to the public dungeons later. So to pick up, to level the Mages Guild, you have to pick up lore books. You can also do the dailies that are available in the capital cities. Grotwood, Stonefalls, Grotwood for AD, Stonefalls for EP, and Stormhaven for DC, I believe. So getting these guilds right off the bat just starts the leveling process of them. So you can kind of like level all this stuff together.
Greetings, you've... That's this one. This one.
Alright, so now I've gotten my guilds ready to go. Level Fighters Guild, you killed Daedra. Basically, that's why doing the dolmens is really key on that one. So it's a pretty easily, like leveling guide, and I think, now keep in mind too, the group events for public dungeons give you a skill point. So if you can do those as well, that really comes in handy. It's just little tips and things you can do, and because power leveling's good if you want to get up quickly. There's already, I guarantee you, there was already people before. Before the first day of Arcanist being live ended, that were already max level, like already level 50 and into the CP with it. And that's good, that's fine. You can, like I said, there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing it that way. But the problem is I found that a lot of times you have to come back and get skill points anyway. And that's like, well, then what purpose did you skip? You're max level, but now you're doing the same things I am. But the beauty of leveling is you get to learn the class too. You get to really learn the class, like its strengths, its weaknesses, what the hell name was that just jumped off of here? Strengths, its weaknesses, how you prefer to play, because what I also do is like to have one ability from each class skill line in there. But also eventually I'll want like a one hand and shield ability, I'll want a resto ability and a destro ability. Now, typically how I like to level is, like I said, one of each, and then this will be, let's say I'm traditional and I only leveling 2 weapons. So this would be a destro ability, and this would be whatever my second bar is going to be, which in this case would be Resto Staff. So this would be a Destro Staff ability to level that to, and this would be a Resto Staff ability. And that's kind of how, I make sure that everything levels fairly evenly.
How would you like to do something worthwhile?
I really don't want to talk to you.
Stop, citizen.
Below me. So that's pretty much, how I level, you'll be getting also through the daily rewards. Where is it? There it is. You'll be getting experience scrolls, you'll be getting a lot of tri-stat potions along with poisons, which come in handy on your front bar as well, so keep out for those, because they definitely make leveling a lot easier, a lot faster. One thing I also grab is a Munda Stone. Now, if you're in a guild, like a trade guild that has a house, you can just travel there and grab it, obviously. But if you don't, just grab the first one you can, and then just move from there. Healers, typically you'd want either like spell damage or ritual. Either one works fine. I prefer ritual for healers. This character... I'm not really sure what this character is going to be yet. And like I said, like, kill everything. I mean, the funniest thing I think I heard once was somebody asked me...
We have to get you to safety.
Somebody asked me how I had so much CP, and I'm like, I just kill everything. It's not hard. I don't have a food. That's just some extra food I had. I didn't know what to grab. Yeah, so grab the first Munda Stone. Whatever, just to kind of have one. And then once you get like up there in levels, you can change. But that's pretty much it for this video. I believe I covered everything I wanted to cover for leveling. Like I said, I like to do I like to do the Alliance zones first, and then I go to the DLC zones. Now, if you wanted to know, hey, what order do I do this in? Like, I'll leave a link below to somebody who spent a ton of time on it, but for the on the forums, and whoever they are, I applaud them because they really worked really hard on it. But just for video's sake, I'll at least tell you how I would level this character in what sort of order. Like I said, it would be Oridon. I'd probably go back and grab the Sky Shards on Canarthy's Roost, which is the starter island. Then I would go to Oridon and get all the delves, public dungeons, world events, maybe some world bosses, but I'm not going to worry about world bosses. And then I would move to Grotwood. Then I would go Greenshade. Then you're going to go Malabal Tor. Then you're going to go Reaper's March. Now from there, if you wanted to stick in the Alliance zones, you could do either EP or DC. It doesn't really matter. But let's say you don't want to do that. You want to move on to the DLC zones from there. From there, the next one that came out was Rothgar. And then, now these are interchangeable as well, but the next one that came out was Thieves Guild and you use Bane. Then Dark Brotherhood in Gold Coast. Then you do Vardenfell. This public dungeon here is actually a really, really, really good public dungeon to level in because there's a lot of mobs. Nobody's ever really there. And it's just a lot of fun, and you get a lot of you find a lot of Dwemer things, which I always like Dwemer dungeons really. But also there's these little collectibles. Vardenfell started public dungeons that have well, actually they had them in Rothgar too, but they were motif pages. This is the one where it had the collectibles that you could sell. So they drop here, and the drop rate is actually fairly good because they are not what they are now, which is like ridiculously weird. Anyway, then you go to Clockwork City. Then from there, Somerset, and then Murkmire, and then memory's getting a little fuzzy here. Then it's Northern Elsewhere, then Southern Elsewhere, then one of my favorite areas is Western Skyrim. This Labyrinthian is a really good place to level too. There are usually some people here though, so if there are, that's fine. Another good place too, if you wanted to just grind mobs and you didn't want to do it in Fragment, would be kind of Wasteland and Somerset. So those are the three public dungeons I'd like to go. Somerset, Karn Wasteland, Western Skyrim, Labyrinthian, and Vardenfell. That one. So anyway, so after Western Skyrim, you do the Reach. Then after the Reach, you do Blackwood. Now, when you do Western Skyrim, don't forget Greymoor Caverns. And when you do the Reach, don't forget the other cavern too. There's some sky shards in there, and so don't forget those. Those are important. So Blackwood, and then after that would be the Deadlands. Then it would be, where is it? High Isle, and then Galen, and then some of the last ones. If you're looking to grind, like Fighters Guild or whatever, Cold Harbor. The only place that part of Cold Harbor is a little harder to get to, which is why I mentioned it kind of last, is up here, because this is more of the main quest. But if you know someone who's done the main quest, you can have them come up here and you can travel to them. I'm pretty sure this is closed off still. Then another place is, of course, Praglorn. I don't really I don't really go in Praglorn. But this is definitely a place you can go. At least now things are separated like this. When you see the plus sign next to it, that means it's more leaning more towards groups. Where if it doesn't have a plus sign like this one, that one's solo. Just something to keep in mind. But yeah, that's actually another good place to level. This one's not too bad. This one's really not too bad. This is my all-time favorite zone just in general. but this is actually not a place to, not a bad place to level either. The mobs are still pretty tight. There's actually a lot of them. There are typically a good amount of people here. Well, the reason why I'm mentioning public dungeons is if you, let's say you get up to 50, but you still need champion points, right? Well, this is why I go to public dungeons. They usually have, there's more of them around, there's more mobs around, and they aren't going to be, you don't have to keep coming out and going back in and resetting, come out, go in, resetting, come, like you do with Skyreach or whatever it is. You can just go through them. Yeah, you got to deal with other people, but typically it's pretty good, pretty good XP. One of the sets to wear is one of the new sets. Let's see. This would be a really good set to roll. Probably a little harder to get when you're lower level, but when you're CP and you just need to get some XP, um, this is kind of a decent set to wear, and also Druid too. I like Druid because you can put 12 of those pieces on. One thing to keep in mind though with this set is it is not affected by XP boosting effects, so just keep that one in mind. So that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I really hope you guys are enjoying Arcanist as much as I am. I am curious how it is going to work in PvP. That was kind of like my biggest question because the beam is so avoidable, right? And I think now that more people have their hands on it, they kind of understand what a lot of us are saying. In PvE, it's fun. There's no doubt this class was going to be fun in PvE. Like, no doubt. If you're curious about, for some reason, if you're curious about what I'm wearing, I'm not wearing that. Do I remember how to do this? Am I dumb? Don't answer that. Most of this is heavy armor, but doing Dragon Guard, Shield of Essential, Jazen, Dragon Guard, Aquana, I don't know, I'm dumb, and Saisahan. And then with Storm Lord Staff, and I do like light role playing. Like I create backstories to who these people were, and that's pretty much the gist of my role playing. So this guy was a former king, and he got lost in love knowledge, and so he seeked knowledge everywhere he could. Mages Guild and just books, and then he found Hermaeus Mora. He didn't really side with Hermaeus Mora, but they kind of have like a deal, kind of like Lermo the Wise. They kind of have like a deal, and he just learns. He likes learning, but he didn't realize that time passes differently in a Datagrom, and his time and his family is kind of long gone and grown up and moved on, and they aren't really royalty anymore, and he's okay with that, and he doesn't want them to know he's still around because I think it'd be weird. So anyway, thank you for joining, guys and girls. Stay safe out there. I'll see you in the next one.